Okay, well, let's get it started then. Yeah. I can work for now. We're as close as we're going to get to a quorum. Okay, if everybody could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm going to have to check with Mr. DeBeck on a point of order here, but can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move to adopt the agenda.
All right. Point of order. I'm lost now. Okay.
Oh yeah, you can second it.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, so first off, if we could, we've got one speaker signed up on the agenda item A4, which is the swearing in of the new board members. Does anybody else who has yet to fill out a speaker slip wish to speak on the swearing in of the new board officers? If not, I'll call up Francis Fierro. Francis, yep.
I was going to address Mr. Kevin Beister. Where is he?
He's right there. Here we go.
And also Mr. Barnett. And on behalf of the chapter for OTBS, we would like to present and welcome them to our San Diego Unified School District. We are CSEA, and we're the Office Technical Business Services. And we have a little gift for you. Here you go. Just so you don't forget us, we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we also have some cards for our board members.
Some too. All right, great. Thanks, Francis. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Francis. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Okay, let's do this right.
Let's do this right. Exactly. Okay. Thank you, OTBS. So following the meeting today, our reception to welcome the new board members is being hosted by the California Coast Credit Union, and we would like to thank the credit union for their generous donation and ongoing partnership with San Diego Unified. Robin Quakow, who's the Community Relations Manager for California Coast, is here and would like to say a few words.
Hi, I'm Robin with California Coast Credit Union. I just wanted to welcome Mr. Barnett and Mr. Beiser. We have been the credit union for San Diego Unified School District, just in case you didn't know, for 80 years and then some. It was actually San Diego teachers that started our credit union, and we have a long-standing relationship and support of faculty and staff and students and the board. So we thought, we're having a party today, we should have a little food. So we came together with a little bit of money and put some food together. So welcome, and please, if there's anything you need for your banking needs, we always say, come see us at California Coast Credit Union. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Robin. Okay, at this time, I would like to ask Board Member-elect Scott Barnett and the Honorable Anthony Brandenburg, Chief Judge, Intertribal Court of Southern California, to step up to the podium for the oath of office. And Scott, do you have any family members with you? Yeah.
Yes. Actually, I'd love my whole family to come up. I want to embarrass as many of them as possible. Okay. So please come up. And Linda, if she wants to come as well. I was a little worried when someone wanted to speak on the open session. I thought it was my parole officer coming down. And I'd love to introduce my my big sister, Catherine Anderson, who she loves to be called Sissy, and my daughter, Tess, who's a 10th grader, their lovely mom, Linda, and our other daughter, Katie, who is a 8th grader, and my big brother, David, and Judge Brandenburg.
Well, thank you. I have to tell you a couple of things before we begin. I've known Scott and his family for approximately 28 years, so I was a teenager at the time. Actually, Scott was my aide-de-camp at one time, if you can believe that, and I think he was about 17 at the time. So I've known the family collectively, and I was also responsible for the wedding. In fact, I did his wedding.
And we both appreciate it.
Many years ago, yes. But I'm supposed to be in Palm Springs today with the Department of Interior, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Department of Justice, and I said to them, you know something, I've got something more important to do. I've got to swear in this young man who I've known all these years and his family and what wonderful people they are, and you're all just going to have to wait. Now, I know personally of Scott's commitment. I know of his ability, I know of his dedication, and I know of his integrity. And I have one thing to say to San Diego City and San Diego City schools. You're lucky to have him. He's a good kid. With that, if you would, Scott, raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I,
Scott Barnett,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
To the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
And that I take this obligation freely.
And I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose or evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of which I am upon to enter.
Congratulations, Scott.
Thank you.
Up.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Scott.
Thank you.
Right. Watch out over there.
That's the left wing.
Yeah, the left. Okay, I'd now like to ask Board Member-elect Kevin Beiser and Rabbi Lori Koski, Executive Director of the Interfaith Committee for Worker Justice, to step up to the podium for the oath of office. And Kevin, your family is welcome to join you as well at the podium.
Yeah, unfortunately, my family's not able to be here. They're up in Oregon. My father is dying of pancreatic cancer stage 4. He has about another month or two left. So they're not able to join us today.
Okay.
So I represent family and tradition, and I don't think that I have had the pleasure of knowing Kevin for 28 months, let alone 28 years. But I do have to say that there isn't anybody who is more warm or caring or committed to the well-being of children than Kevin Beiser, and there isn't anybody who wanted to serve more than Kevin does. When his father took ill, he became both a serving son and somebody who was seeking to serve our schools and our children. And Kevin, we wish your father Godspeed in whatever his journey will be in the next time. And we admire you not just for your commitment to the city of San Diego and the children here, but for being your own self, a child and a son of parents who love you very much. So for that, you are to be commended, and for your effort to sit here with this council, you are to be commended, and now you will be sworn in. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. You must raise your right hand. I, Kevin Richard Lankford Beiser,
I, Kevin Richard Lankford Beiser,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend
the
Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. And in my tradition, we should all join and say, Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov.
Excuse me.
Okay, at this time I'd like to invite board members Beiser and Barnett to start us off with comments. Kevin, do you want to begin?
I stand before you today a child of poverty. Growing up in abject poverty was never fun, but it was very challenging. From picking strawberries in the fields with migrant workers, I overcame adversity and many challenges in my lifetime to come where I am today. Through the promise of public education and the love and nurturing of my teachers and my family, I have been lifted up out of poverty. We have a moral obligation to those children in our care that are also living in poverty today to do everything we can to work together to lift them up, and so that they too can realize the promise of America. By working together, I know there's nothing that we cannot accomplish. I'm often reminded of the quote from Helen Keller when she so eloquently stated, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." So by working together in this spirit of collaboration, I know that there is no challenge that we cannot overcome if we work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Scott.
Thank you.
President.
There you go.
First lesson, how to turn on the microphone. Well, hopefully it won't be a tradition that I'll be more long-winded than my other new colleague here, but I think today I'll be a little bit longer. I do want to thank Judge Brandenburg for coming and swearing me in. I've started in politics and his campaign in 1982, and for some reason decided to stay in the business after that very exciting adventure. But I do appreciate him coming down today, and it's a real honor for him to be here. I want to take the opportunity to recognize my predecessor in this seat, Mr. DeBeck, who served not only 20 years on the school board, but some, I believe, 36 years as a teacher in this district. And whatever our differences, I think we can all appreciate and respect that he truly has served the children in this district, and I appreciate, as a parent of kids in this district, his service. So I do want to recognize and thank him for his service. there obviously are so many people you can thank, and being a fan of the Oscars, I know if you start listing them that they cut you off with music, or I'm not sure what they do here. Hopefully the president doesn't sing.
We appoint you to a committee.
Oh, okay. Oh, isn't that on the agenda? But I would like to thank the people who are really, obviously, the most important people in my life, or my family, and you saw them up here, and their support through the years has been very important. Unlike the past that Kevin described, I've been very fortunate, and my family's been very fortunate to have been blessed with good luck and health and providence through our lives. So we have been taught to give back. And but I did want to thank my family, the most important people in my life. And no, Tess, it's not Milo, my dog, who is the most important. I know she thinks it is sometimes. Unfortunately, my mother could not be here tonight. She's 84 years old. She is watching tonight, and she is the reason I am here. Obviously, not just the birth, giving birth, but the fact that I like to say I was born on the first day of summer, and it's the longest day of the year, and it certainly was for her. But she started, my earliest memories were as her in the League of Women Voters in New York, president of the State League, fighting for voting rights and Civil Rights Act and Housing Rights Act for people who didn't have a voice and didn't have rights back then. And that is the reason why I believe public service is important, and us to remember that power is something that we can do to improve the lives of others. There are so many great things about this school district, and the board, which I'm very honored to be working with, and I think we all are going to set an important new tone of collegiality, and even when we disagree, that we will do so in a respectful way, and I understand and respect their dedication and commitment. There are also obviously the superintendent and his mostly new staff, who are remarkably talented people, and I like to say, though, I mean, they've kind of been sat down on a ship that's been had some rough times, but we have an admiral at the helm here, and I think we will do well with their talent. We also obviously have thousands of teachers, custodians, landscapers, food service, and transportation folks who create safe, health, clean environment for our kids. But we have to be honest, there are great challenges that we have in the school district. And it's not just the shortfall state funds, which this board has done remarkably well at minimizing as much as possible cuts to the classroom, but the fact that for many, many years this district has really not had any handle on its finances and its personnel, and doesn't really have a good grasp on where it spends its money. And that's our number one responsibility. And that's something this board inherited and the staff inherited. And my number one priority is to make sure that we have the information and the transparency so all of us can make intelligent decisions on our local funding here in the district. It's also important to know that we all have heard the word accountability a lot in recent years by politicians, by parents, and so forth. And the board obviously is accountable to our constituents and the voters, and the staff is accountable, the superintendent, to the board. But we all have to understand we have to have a greater level of accountability, and not just the staff and the teachers and the parents, but the students as well. And we need to set that example. And when there are principals who have to maybe set discipline for students, or teachers who are telling us they need our support, we need to make sure they have that support and we don't undermine it. But the most important thing we do here, obviously, is to educate our kids. And unfortunately, as many great students as we have, and so many great teachers and successful students, including my children, there are too many who don't graduate or are not as successful in moving on to college and the career of their choice. And I know this board knows that, and I know we have to work together for that. And the most important resource for our kids are our teachers. They're the most important tool we have in order to make sure they are successful. And tonight I saw a teacher in the audience who I know, when he had troubles with his students, he would call the parent. And if he told me a story when the parent would say, well, I don't want to talk to you, he'd go to their door, and then they'd open the door and they'd let him in, and they'd actually say, okay, what is going on with my student? And that's Bill Freeman, who's the president of the San Diego Education Association. And if every teacher was set that model, and most do, then I think we would all have the greatest education system in the country, and I know that's what we aspire to, is that model, and many teachers do have that model, but we have to support them in that. But at the same time, because of the important role that teachers have, they are the focus of the most attention of the public, and there's a lot of blame out there. There's blame for teachers that our students are not successful, and I think about, do we blame the police when crime goes up? And sure, police have responsibility, but there's also the economy, and there's socioeconomic issues, and there's pay, and there's training, and all that. And yes, there are police officers who shouldn't be on the street. And at the same time, we do have teachers who need more mentoring, more training, more resources, more time. And yes, there are teachers who probably shouldn't be in the classroom anymore. And we need to be honest about that as well. I think most importantly, we need to be honest with what works and what doesn't, and say that we're going to work together in a positive way to get things done. One other point here, I represent a sub-district which is overall wealthier than most of the other districts in city schools, although we have children of all colors and socioeconomic backgrounds going to school there. I know the needs are different in different parts of the district, and the needs are overall greater in our district for children of color who come from poorer families. And we all have a responsibility to make sure that they get the education that they deserve and need, because ultimately, if they're not successful, we pay in the long run. We pay as a society in failing those kids, and we pay economically in welfare and prison, so we need to make sure we make those investments now, and that is a high priority of mine. Lastly, I know there's a sigh of relief, we can't do it alone. This board, the teachers, the staff, we need all of you out there, parents, community members, and I think we all need to exceed our expectations if we are going to continue to make this district a success. And it's an honor to serve on this board and with these members. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin and Scott. Ms. Jackson, do you want to?
I would like to say thank you to the members that have served on the board, Mr. DeBeck and Ms. Nakamura, if you're watching the broadcast. Thank you for your service. To the new members, I welcome both of you. And as I said to you, that the most important things is our children. We have to always keep them in the forefront. They're the ones who don't have a voice. Adults can fight for themselves, but our children don't decide. They don't decide who their parents are. They're just born into a family, and they come to us looking to be educated, and that should be our highest priority. So with that, I welcome you and look forward to working with you. Thank you.
I also want to extend a warm welcome to Scott Barnett and Kevin Beiser to our school board. They've put in a lot of work to be elected to the board, and even in our imperfect election process that we have in this country, and I do hope that we continue to elect school board members as opposed to going into some other type of system. One of the things I was thinking when we were talking, in fact, with new board members here, I remember when I served on a governance team at a high school a while back. I think Ms. Zimmerman was a board member at that time. And one of the things I said was, why can't the students use lockers? Or why does the high school have to start so early? And all of these questions. And they said, well, we've talked about that. This is the way it is. Nothing can be done. And now here I am sitting on the board, and people are asking me those questions. But I think we have to, as Mr. Barnett was saying, we really have to look at accountability of the teachers, the staff, board members, and everybody. One of the things I really hope that we do, and as being now a 2-year veteran of the school board, is really pay closely attention to what the new members have to say, because it's very easy, if someone's been on for a little while, to do what people did when I came on another board and said, well, this has been tried or that can't be done. We really have to be flexible, listen to new ideas, and be open to that. And when I fall into that mode of saying those types of things, I hope you will call me on it. We really do need to collaborate. There's a lot at stake here, but I think we really can accomplish a lot working together. And I think, as every board member here has said, we are responsible for together, collectively, for the education of all of the children in San Diego at every single school, in every single neighborhood, putting aside parochial interests and doing the best for all of our children. So once again, welcome to both of you.
And I'd like to again thank John DeBeck and thank Catherine Nakamura for your service to this district. We've got 2 groups of San Diegans who we as a school district and as a school board are fundamentally responsible to, our taxpayers and our students. And we're welcoming tonight to the board people who have spent, who in their life's work look out for the interests of taxpayers and students every day, and it's an honor, Kevin and Scott, to have both of you joining our board, and we welcome you and look forward to working closely with you. And thanks. Okay, we will now move on to item A5, and this is the annual organization of the Board of Education. First, we will conduct the election for the office of president, who will serve for the period from December 7th, 2010 through December 13th, 2011, in accordance with Ed Code Section 35143 and the bylaws and procedures established by the board. Ballots have been distributed to each member in your brown folder. Please fill out and sign the tan-colored ballot for president. Ms. Ward will collect, tabulate, and announce the results. If any member receives 3 or more votes, he or she is elected. If not, the process will be repeated until someone receives 3 votes.
I'd like to speak, please.
Yes.
Also.
Ms. Jackson? Yeah. Go ahead.
The board officers are elected every year, and a few years ago I asked that the responsibility be rotated through the officers, through the board members. I think that is the best thing that we can do for our district. It makes sure that everyone has an opportunity to serve in a leadership position as president and vice president. And even though it was not written and approved in our bylaws, I hope that as we vote, we will consider that we should always be rotating our leadership positions. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Evans?
One of the things I said the first time I was in the board and we were electing officers, I saw boards sit up here and just silently mark a lot of ballots several times until they came up with 3 votes for one person. I felt it was important for us to have an open discussion about this, because this is just as important as anything else that we are considering. First, I would like to say of foremost importance is the fact that we have 5 co-board members, 5 equal members who have an equal say in what's going on in this district, whether they are officers or not. I certainly know the first year when I was on the board and not an officer that I had every right to place items on the agenda and participate in every way, and I'm sure that will continue to be the case. Based on that, it would, in terms of, we did discuss also the issue of rotation, as Ms. Jackson mentioned, and although it's not in our bylaws, it's something that we discussed and I think is in general a good idea. However, I think given certain circumstances, we've had a lot of change in the district. We've moved from an interim superintendent to a permanent superintendent. We've taken 2 long-time people with the district as deputy superintendents, and we're really establishing some stability in the district. And so my suggestion is, I'm saying, even though just by sort of logic, in terms of rotation, that I might proceed on to being president during this coming year, I would like to propose or suggest, we don't take nominations per se, that for 1 year we postpone the rotation for 1 year and continue. I'm willing to serve as vice president for another year rather than president if Mr. Barrero is willing to serve as president.
Thanks. Any comments, Mr. Beiser or Mr. Barnett?
I had one question and one comment. If I don't like any of these choices, can I write in Catherine Nakamura?
Yes.
Okay. Right in. Just wanted to know what our options were here. I've had an opportunity studying local government for many, many years, and I felt that when you rotate a board president or a mayor, which is more I've seen every year, that the president or the mayor loses authority on a regional basis. This is one of the largest government entities in the region. In fact, we have more employees in the city of San Diego. And I think it's important that the public know who our president is and the press know. And I would like to also urge that we have not an automated rotation every year, because I think it's harder for the public, the press, and also for the staff to have that. So I support what Mr. Evans is suggesting, even though that he will have to delay his ascension to the august position for further time, and believe from this approach is better serves the taxpayers and the district.
Comes down. Okay, with no further comments, please vote.
Let's it down 30 seconds.
So all members, except for Member Jackson, have voted for Richard Barrera. Member Jackson has voted for Mr. Evans as president. So, Mr. Barrera, congratulations.
Okay, we will now conduct the election for vice president. Please fill out the yellow ballot.
And it's unanimous, Mr. Evans, Vice President.
Okay, and we have one last order of business tonight. This is a motion that I would like to make, so I will pass the gavel to Dr. Evans. I would suggest that the board establishes an operations and efficiency ad hoc committee to be headed up by our new board members, Mr. Beiser and Mr. Barnett. It's exactly the reason that Dr. Evans gave, which is we're bringing two new board members with tremendous perspective coming into the district and with fresh eyes to look at the district. And so I want to encourage our two new board members to work with the staff and the superintendent to put a committee together to identify, again, as we've said before, to turn over every rock in this district, think about new ways that we can do the business of this district, and come back to this board consistently with recommendations, with final recommendations coming in a timely manner. So that would be my motion.
I'll second the motion.
May I speak, please?
Yes, Ms. Jackson.
Okay, I'm not objective to this particular committee. What I do need to know is how we appoint members to it. I think that other board members should be able to appoint members to this committee, and that's not listed here, how we appoint committees members when there will be meeting and that type of thing. So again, I think it's a great idea. I've been saying efficiency and effectiveness for a very long time. I look forward to us doing that, but I think the committee that we put forth, because we still need to be able to appoint people to, if we're going to have board committees, because we have a number of task force right now that people have just been assigned to, and I don't even know who these people are. I mean, that have been assigned to these committees, and I think if we have committees, board members should know who's on the committees and have the ability to appoint people to these committees. And if that's okay with the 2 new members, then I'm fine with it. I need to know when my appointment.
Okay, my intention in this motion was the creation of an ad hoc committee, more like a task force with a time-limited period that would be put together under the guidance of the board members Beiser and Barnett, and with the assistance of the staff.
Can't have a member on it?
Well, what I'm proposing is a committee that would not be each board member appointing members to the committee, but that's certainly up to this board to discuss and debate.
Well, the way I said it's I do feel very strongly that if we have committees to make sure that all members' perspectives are in that committee, that members should have the ability to put people on the committee. I would be very concerned if we have a committee that's headed up by 2 board members, the other board members can't even put someone on that committee. That does not sound democratic at all. So.
Okay, let me comment. I believe my understanding anyway, that the idea is that this committee would be bringing forth ideas, obviously to the board, which the entire board would be acting on. And I guess besides the board members, I'm putting a lot of which we have in everything, a lot of responsibility into the hands of the superintendent. I expect that in everything that he does, that he takes into consideration, a diverse group and the important stakeholders who must participate. I also think that this is, it can't be a long, drawn-out process as far as an ongoing type of committee that we might have, and so I think for efficiency it would be good to be done under the auspices of the superintendent. Just the fact that the 2 board members would be working with him. And as Ms. Jackson said, she certainly had no objection to the 2 board members participating. I just wanted to say what I think is very good about this is in terms of the talents of the 2 people who are coming onto the board. First of all, Mr. Barnett is having worked for many years as a budget analyst, and Mr. Beiser as a classroom teacher. On the other hand, although Mr. Beiser's worked as a classroom teacher, he also has experience in business, and Mr. Barnett also has a lot of experience with the educational system too. So I think that's a good combination. Again, we're just looking for a fresh set of eyes to come up with some ideas for efficiency in the district.
Well, I still have not heard the answer to my question.
Well, do you want to make an amendment?
Can I just address, because I think when looking at both the laws of the district and the bylaws and other things, that this is not a board-appointed committee, as I understand it, that this is a ad hoc committee that essentially so it's not a normal, if you will, a normal standing committee that will have regular, that will meet forever, and as opposed to what this committee would do is Mr. Beiser and I would hopefully work together with the staff and the public and look at different aspects of the district's operations, and we need to make sure we include the employees who are actually doing the work so they get input, and we listen to that, because in many ways I think that doesn't historically always get up through all the levels to the board, and that this would be ad hoc based on subject. So if we're looking at a particular area, and I don't want to throw out one to say that we're without putting a target, but just say, for instance, food services, because I know this board's looked at that a lot in the past. We would, I think, try to bring members of the public in who would represent different aspects, people who are on free and reduced lunch, parents who receive that, members of the staff, management, and people outside with financial and other expertise. And these would be short-term, 30 to 45-day processes, not dragging on for months where things don't get done, but to really have a focused review. And so the key is there really wouldn't be a standing committee of the same people that would meet monthly or weekly because we need different disciplines based on different talents and expertise. Part of the problem is the processes we've had at the district all these years have not worked to solve the basic, inherent, systemic problems of facing this district. So we have to do things differently. We're not talking about hiring consultants or spending tens of thousands of hours, but being creative, innovative, and that means anyone in the district, any parent, any taxpayer, any teacher who has an idea or thought on any of the subjects we're going to cover, their input will not only be allowed but encouraged in order to fix these problems. So in a sense, the committee is anyone who wants to participate. And of course, we would have public meetings set where we would make sure the public would know about that input, but this is not a normal committee in the sense of a normal board-appointed committee. So it's a different animal in that sense.
I'm not saying this is a board-appointed committee. I am very concerned. If you have a food service committee, if you have an energy committee, any committee that you have, I want to know who's on that committee. Because what I don't want to have happen, when you say the public, this is a very large city, and we need to make sure that we have representatives from across the entire city, not just people that maybe a couple of people know. And in order to do that, you must be able to make sure that before a committee meets, that we know who's on that committee. Now, if we're going to start having a board that has committees that people get to pick and choose who's on that committee, that is not very transparent. That is not appropriate. So on the surface, I can agree with this, but if you're going to sit here and tell me tonight, you four gentlemen, that you're going to start forming these task force and ad hoc committees and you get to decide who's on them, yes, I do have a problem with that. And if the committee is a public committee, then we need to make sure that the public is well informed. In that case, it has to adhere to the Brown Act, and it should come before the board so that we know what committee is going to be meeting, so we can make sure that public people that we know are on that committee. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat this. No way.
Well, do you want to make an amendment, Ms. Jackson?
Well, I would amend it so that board members are entitled to submit people to these various committees.
Okay. I can second that.
Thank you.
Okay, so any other comments on Ms. Jackson's amendment?
Just so I understand, so any board member could suggest members who will be serving on these various ad hoc committees. Great. Okay.
So, because the direct appointment, as I understand, is we as a collective board, the five of us, are recommending Mr. Beiser and Mr. Barnett for this committee, and that's how we're exercising. That's, in my mind, how we're exercising our prerogative.
Okay. Well, we've got an amendment on the floor that Ms. Jackson is suggesting has been seconded. Please vote. Okay, great. Now we've got the original motion. Do we have a second? I was
a second.
Okay, so any other comments? If not, please vote. Okay, terrific. Okay, yes. So this meeting is adjourned, and we'd like to invite all of you to join us at a reception in the lobby.